Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So this is the second part of the first lecture of statistics and probability theory. We will continue with the topic introduction of statistics. In previous part, we have studied the definition of the statistics, which is defined as that statistics is an art or science used for the collection, presentation, analysis, and interpretation of numerical data. So the very first step is collection. So if you want to collect the data, there are two sources of data, or you can say there are two types of data. The number one is primary data and the second one is secondary data. So what is primary data? Primary data is usually called the first-hand information. It can be collected like, for example, interviewing people within your organization, observing a moderated discussion among people. You choose to collect data. This is basically based on the personal observation, interviews, or surveys. Whereas secondary data is second-hand information, for example, Google Analytics report on your website's traffic, information you collect from census and electoral statistics. So there are two types of data, primary data and secondary data. Difference between primary and secondary data. Primary data. This is real-time data. Sure about sources of data, help to give results or finding, costly and time-consuming process, avoid biasness of response data, and this one is more flexible than secondary data. And the secondary data is usually the past data, and not sure about of sources of the data. We are just refining the problem that we have chosen the already existing data from some source and we are using this, so you are basically refining the problem. Cheap and no time consuming process, because you are just picking up the data from some other source, not collecting by yourself. So this is cheap and it takes lesser time than primary data. Cannot know in data biasness or not, as data is not collected by yourself, so you can't claim that this is unbiased data, and this one is less flexible. Methods of collecting primary data. These are some methods which you can say are used to collect primary data, in which we have direct personal investigation or interview method, indirect oral investigation through enumerators, that you don't go by yourself, you just send some enumerators to the interviewee to collect the data. Investigation through local reporters questionnaire, investigation through mailed questionnaire, investigation through observations. So these are some sources of collecting primary data. Method of collection of secondary data. There are published sources and unpublished sources as well. You can say international, the published sources could be international, it could be from the government sources, from municipal corporation, institutional, commercial. All these are the published sources, and unpublished sources are like you ask from someone who knows about the information to tell you about that particular thing. So this is the unpublished source. Published sources are either international, government, municipal corporation, institutional, commercial, and etc. Applications of statistics. It is very useful in economics, finance, insurance, operations as well. Uh, Statistics is used in economics to make the policies or formulation of economic policies like econometrics. Finance helps in value at risk, stock market derivative, insurance based on concept of probability, operations, inventory, statistical quality control, Six Sigma method. All these are some fields or some areas in which statistics can be used. Population. A complete list of all the species is called the population. So let's suppose this is the population. All the individuals in this round circle is population. You can see from here that they have different colors and they are male and female as well. So this is the population of a certain region. And let's suppose you have taken the sample. This one is the sample. Sample is basically the subset of the population. So this is the sample of this population and we have picked it out. So this is the sample. Now, these are the sampling units, or you can say the units in the sample, and these are the individuals, as your population is the collection of the individuals, and they have different colors and different sex. So this particular concept is described to differentiate between variable and constant. If we define variable is something which is not fixed, which keeps on changing, and constant is something which is fixed. So if you concentrate on the sampling units of the sample, they all are individuals. So this is constant. Whenever you take the sample from this population, obviously they are individuals. But they have different color and different sex. So this is variable. This particular person have blue color. This lady has green color. So this, if you say that your variable is color, so it is variable as it varies from person to person. Or if you say that you are concentrating on the sex, so it is also different from person to person, as this particular individual is male and this one is female. So variable is something which is not fixed and constant is something which is fixed. So there are two types of variables, numeric and categorical. Categorical means they depends on the categories, and numeric basically represents the numerical number. It could be continuous, it could be discrete. What is the difference between continuous and discrete? If you say that your variable is continuous, it means that it contains each and every point within a given range. Let's suppose your variable name is x and it exists between the range a and b, where a and b are some constants. So this variable x will take each and every value within the range a and b. Let's suppose that this a is 1 and this b is 2. So this is the range and x is your variable and it is continuous variable and it is numerical as well. So it will take each and every value between 1 and 2. It could be 1, 1.001, 1.01, 1.1, 1.2. As you know that this is the real number line, if this is the real number line, this is 0, this is 1, let's suppose this is 2. So if your variable is continuous, it will take each and every value between these 2 points, 1 and 2. But if your variable is discrete, so discrete, if you define that your variable is discrete, then discrete means something which is countable. It always contains a whole number. For example, if you say your random variable is x, so it can take value 1, 2, we are assuming this, or you can say it could be -1, -2, but it will always assume or consume the complete whole number, and it will not take the value between these two numbers, that x can either be -1 or either be -2. It cannot take the value 1.1, -1.1, -1.2. So if you say that discrete is something which is countable and continuous is something which is measurable. And if your variable is categorical, so there could be two options. It could be ordinal and it could be nominal. How can we explain it? This is basically for the type of the qualitative data. If you say that your variable is categorical, so obviously your data will be qualitative. Qualitative means it depends on the quality of the sampling unit. And if you say that it is numeric, so obviously your data would be quantitative. That is, it depends on the quantity. So if you say that qualitative means it depends on the quality. So it could be, if you say, for example, you are keeping in mind the, you are considering the individuals and, just a moment. If you say that it is qualitative, so basically you will focus on the quality. It could be that if you select a person and quality would be if the selected person could be poor, middle class, and the person could be rich. For example, we are assuming this. So there are three options. So we cannot measure these qualities, poor, middle class, or rich. So what you will do, you will simply name them or give them a number. For example, I give the number 2 for the poor, number 5 to the middle class, and number 8 to the rich. So whenever the number 2 occurs, it definitely comes into mind that the selected person is poor. Whenever the number 5 will occur, so it definitely comes into my mind that the selected person is middle class. And whenever the number 8 will come, so it could be understandable that the selected person is rich. So this is basically the nominal data. You are simply naming the qualities, poor, rich, or middle class. And if you do it in this way, that you name them, but you name them in the sequence, or you can say in the order. So let's suppose I named it as 1 for the poor, 2 for the rich, 2 for the middle class, and 3 for the rich. Now you are doing the same as you have done in the nominal data, but the difference is these numbers are now in order. So this would be now ordinal data. So this is the difference between ordinal and nominal. In both cases, your data is categorical, or you can say that it is qualitative. But what you are doing, you are naming the outcome, and they could be in the order or without order. If they are in the order, it would be ordinal variable, or you are arranging your data in the form of ordinal data, or if you are just randomly naming them, so it would be nominal. Discrete was continuous data. Discrete data result when the number of possible values is either a finite number or a countable number, as we have already experienced this in previous slides. Continuous, this is numerical data, result from infinitely many possible values that correspond to some continuous scale. Hat covers a range of values without gaps, interruptions, or jumps. Continuous data is measurable. So as we have seen this is 1 and 2, and continuous variable will cover each and every point between 1 and 2. So there will be no interruption, no jump.